dragons, spirits, ancient histories that are yet to be discovered, pacts with gods, and a goat. If you like any of those things, you should probably come check out the Broadswords. We are a non-binary and all-women podcast that play a little bit of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. And let me tell you, there are not a lot of dice that are rolled, but there are a lot of shenanigans to be had. You can find us at thebroadswords.com or listen to us wherever your podcasts are cast.
You know things, I know some too. Sit right down, the femsplain them to you. If there's a thing you want to explain, these two feminists can entertain. Nerdy stuff, sexy stuff, so much to know. Tune in for the Femsplain Show.
Femsplain!
Morning, Diana.
Morning, Avalon. And morning to our listeners.
Ugh. Them.
Get out of
They're
this.
always
This private.
coming in. We're always trying to spend some quality time. They're always coming in.
We're just sitting here watching us while we have our morning tea and chat.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Fuck 'em. Well, this is, of course, an episode of Femsplained where we do expect that there will be listeners and hopefully they will listen, laugh, and learn with us.
Yep.
So before we get started, we do usually talk about some things that nerd culture has done for us recently.
Yeah, let's take advantage of this time for me to ask you, what the fuck happened with that champagne bottle?
So, so we basically did we were doing our Friday night stream and we wanted some booze, but I was a little bit distracted. So I did a drizzly order of alcohol. And
Wow. I've never heard of that.
yeah, it's seamless for liquor stores.
Cool.
And I didn't have time to think, so I just hit express reorder on something, and that something happened to be what we ordered on New Year's Eve, which turned out to be a giant bottle of champagne. So I thought it would be funny to open it on stream. I've opened so many bottles of champagne before, and that
I believe you.
Literally,
And it was funny to open on stream.
Yeah, turns out it was the funniest. I didn't expect the delay of the explosion is very funny to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like a second of everything's fine, and then just comically, it's literally a waterfall all over your computer desk.
Oh. So is everything okay? All of your technology and belongings?
Yeah,
No.
frankly,
Oh,
I guess
yes.
maybe because I reacted in a certain way, but it mostly got on me.
Oh, good.
And not on my technology. And my keyboard was pretty resistant to whatever splash happened.
Nice.
It was just mostly a very funny and very ridiculous occurrence. But apparently even though this has never happened to me before with any champagne bottle, apparently there is a right way to hold a champagne bottle that
apparently
I was supposed to know about. Which some people are telling me it's like a 45-degree angle, but that's what I was holding it at.
You know what? I mean, it is. And I was trying to look at the little video that you were sharing, and it does kind of look like you're doing it. But it's hard to tell because it's oriented straight at the camera, so you can't really tell how much of an angle it's on.
Yeah, it was like
it does seem like maybe it did seem like you had it slightly too erect.
Maybe. So, all right.
Yeah.
So the problem isn't that I had it tilted too far. It's that it might have been
No.
too high up.
Yeah.
I had it tilted pretty much facing the computer, which is why it kind of right at the computer
see.
screen. I do wonder if the size of the champagne bottle has something to do with adding to the I don't know, the
Well,
risk
I
of
would say it
explosion.
certainly adds to the volume within. And then I also wonder if, I mean, had it just been dropped off from the delivery driver? Maybe it was jostled a lot.
No, it was a day a day after.
I see. Well,
Yeah. Well,
it was funny.
It was very funny, and I don't regret a thing because it was one of the best moments for me and 13 people to be present for.
I do hope that you make the GIF one of your stream things, like when you get rated or something. That's the.
Yeah. Wally suggested that it become the new subscriber one, so I think I might do that. And I wish I think I may be able to add like a sound to it, so like the pop of the champagne.
Oh yeah.
So I might try to do that.
Oh. Ooh, and I see you're drinking your gross drink.
I'm drinking my absolutely delicious and refreshing drink, you mean? Except I'm drinking it sans the alcohol part. It is just
Oh wow.
yeah, it's just black tea and it's black tea and like a honey chamomile tea.
Double bagging it, huh?
In icy seltzer, yes.
Why is there no alcohol?
I don't
Not like
have
you have
any.
to. I'm just curious. You don't have any.
I don't have any. Yeah, I know. I know. It's very sad. It's very very sad.
All right. So what has nerd culture done for me is the question the listeners might be asking themselves.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is something that I thought of just before we started recording. And it is lost. It's gone. It's gone forever. I don't know what it is.
Good.
Cool. Yeah. I guess the answer is nothing. I don't know. I've been going outdoors. Nerd culture has done that for me. You went outdoors yesterday. What was that like?
It was great. So let me tell you about it, actually. So
Yeah.
I was actually hoping I could find time to do it today, but it decided that it's going to rain today for some reason. So in my apartment building, we have bad landlords. And I say that knowing full well that all landlords are bad, but we have some really bad ones. And there is, right outside our apartment, there's like a studio apartment sized patch of grass that's completely fenced in and hedged in as well. And there's no like flowers or plants or anything there. It's just a whole, studio apartment's worth of fenced in grass. And they have aggressive signs everywhere that you're not allowed to go on it. It's just there for looking at, I guess. But yesterday I said, fuck it. And I went down to the Windows service bar and I got a to-go G&T and I took my dog to the grassy spot and no one could see us because the hedges like kind of cover everything. And so I just like kind of did some yoga and played fetch with my dog, which she doesn't really play fetch. She just runs to the ball and then lays there until you come and get it. So, but we did that for about an hour and then went inside. It was a really nice time.
That sounds so nice. How's that vitamin D feeling?
It's, you know what? I feel like I need to get out there again, like away for a booster shot of vitamin D.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm so glad. That's so nice. You know what also would be nice is a community garden.
Yeah.
In that spot.
Yeah. Or like anything that the tenants could use. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, well, good for Sam.
Yeah, Sam was very happy. She's just like laid with her belly up at the sun.
Oh.
Yeah. She's not really.
She's like a solar panel dog.
Yeah, she's not really like the play outside type. She's more like the I just absorb all the sunlight and like lay and bask in it type.
Well, nice. Well, I like it.
Yeah, me too. Where did you go outside recently?
I go outside a lot.
Oh yeah, you do actually.
But really just in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just in a very suburban area, so it's easy to just be outside. I've been gardening a lot. I take walks a lot.
I'm proud of you. That's nice.
Thank you. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for Robin.
Yeah.
He gives me an excuse. And my social anxiety is kind of hits sometimes in such a way that it's like, if people see me just out walking or exercising, they'll think I'm weird or being weird. And so it's like I need to look like I have a reason to be doing those things. And pushing a stroller feels like a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good reason.
Yeah.
I want to extend to you permission to walk without a reason. You don't.
I know. I just think about it sometimes. And if people are like driving by in their car and they're like, what's that person doing walking on a sidewalk? Listen, I know that this is not rational. It's just something that's true.
That's something exclusive to suburbia, I think. Like in New York City, that thought would never have entered my brain.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Even as like a very anxious person, I think it's just that's a singular suburban thing. But yeah. I'm glad that you do. Whatever justification you need to give yourself, I'm very glad that you get to do it.
Yes. I'll just be pushing an empty stroller because I won't know how to go back.
Because Robin will just be walking.
Yeah, Robin will be in college and I'll be like, I really would love to walk right now. Where's that stroller? Yeah. Well, cool.
All right. Well, last time we had the lovely, amazing Brenda.
Did we? Is Brenda's episode next?
Yes, I think.
You do whatever you want.
So last week, if you were on our Patreon, you got a new homework episode. If you were not, you got last month's homework episode. And this week, we are back with an all new Femsplained from Avalon about a topic I have definitely never heard of before. So before we jump into that, let's get a man in here and have him explain it.
In a mansplain minute, everything's explained. In a mansplain minute, tell the ladies what to say. In a mansplain minute, putting 1 minute on the man watch and go. Redwall. It's fine if you need cute little animals to find high fantasy palatable. For those of us who had more refined tastes growing up, we preferred Lord of the Rings, The Wheel of Time, true classics. What Brian Jacques did so well, if not a little bit repetitively, was simplify the genre. Mice good, rats bad. It was great for anybody who needed a transition to fantasy from other genres, like Sesame Street. But does it hold up on reread, or should it be relegated to a box in your parents' attic? Who am I to say? And that's your Mansplain Minute.
Well, all right. I believe in whatever that was.
That was probably on topic.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad you feel that way. So, Avalon,
Yes.
What the heck are you talking about?
I am talking about Redwall fucking Diana.
What is that?
It is a book series. Why
are you yelling at me?
It is known. It is known. And it is good. And it is part of any worthwhile childhood. So just get out of here if it wasn't part of yours.
It was not part of mine at all. I had no awareness of this.
Yes. So Redwall is, I think it tends to be in the fantasy section, but I think it's YA. But it's Humblewood.
Tumblewood? What is that?
Humblewood. It's a high fantasy where all the characters are woodland creatures, like Humblewood.
Okay, I love it. Okay.
Yeah. It's very cute. It's very good. And it's all the little creatures. And they have different little dialects sometimes, and it's written in their dialects, which is really fun. So like if there's a Scottish sounding mole, then the book is written with his dialogue with a little Scottish pronunciation, and it's cute.
That's very cute.
It's cute and it's good. Diana.
Okay, so it's a series of are they, I guess, what kind of thing am I comparing this to? Is it like a Lord of the Rings style or Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe type thing where they are big books in like a short series? Is it episodic, like long term short books like Nancy Drew or Animorphs or things like that? Like, where on the spectrum of YA is this falling?
I would put it more in terms of the length of the books and the reading level. I would put it closer to like the Tolkien end of the spectrum than the Animorphs end of the spectrum.
Okay.
And so the books are pretty long. They're a couple hundred pages. But the series itself is kind of generational. So for instance, the first book is about a little orphan mouse named Matthias, who is growing up at Redwall Abbey. It's this big abbey where all kinds of different woodland creatures come, and you don't hurt any of the monk mice of Redwall because they're known to always welcome people and heal them and foster community, and they always have food for different creatures in need. So even predatory animals won't attack the monk mice of Redwall. So Matthias is growing up there, and it's a pacifist order, but he, in his heart, like really wants to be a warrior. And there's this like old ancient hero of Redwall way back in the past named Martin the Warrior that was a similar looking mouse that had like a sword and a shield, and he like really wants to be like Martin one day, but there's no reason to because it's always peaceful. But then a bad thing happens, and it turns out he's kind of like the avatar of Martin, and he has to go find Martin's sword and save the abbey and stuff like that. And then another book in the series might be Matthias's son, or it might be a book that jumps back and tells a story about Martin, or it might be, you know, a character that you're discovering in this book. It's like his son down the road. So it's all within this big sort of branching family tree of characters and lore that you can trace some of the characters back together, but it's not necessarily just following one person's lifetime.
Right, and it's not like necessarily like a chronological book series where like book number 1 happens and then the events of book number 2
No.
happen. Okay.
I think for the most part it moves forward with time, but there are big jumps sometimes, and then occasionally it'll go back and explore a lore of a previous character. But it's really fun. It's really cool and wholesome, and it does a really good job with like classic hero's journey. I don't want to say tropes, but roles, archetypes.
Yeah,
it fits together really well. But also, even though it's really wholesome, the violence is really surprisingly harsh sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing that makes me a little bit hesitant about YA. So I loved this series when I was a kid, and I've been reading it to Robin, which he has no comprehension, so it's fine.
Sure.
But sometimes I'm like, yikes. You know, so the evil army in this book, it's Clooney the Scourge, and it's this giant sea rat from a ship. And he's leading a crew of like other rats and weasels and ferrets and stuff like that. And they just go through the land, just pillaging and plundering basically and killing. And they come upon Redwall and they're like, we know there's all kinds of great treasure and food in Redwall behind those giant walls. We're going to take Redwall. We're going to take the Abbey.
Right.
And so all these pacifist mice and forest creatures have to fight them off. But there's a scene, for instance, where there's this special sneaky stoat that's like the only animal that could possibly climb all the way up the wall of Redwall. And it gets to the top, and one of the good guys is a badger, and she knows that he's coming, so she like hides at the top. And then once he gets to the top, she like smacks him off, and he falls all the way to his death. But then it's like the description of the crunch of his bones and like his rattling death breaths and stuff. It's a little much. It's a little much.
Right. I do. First of all, I want to see that Martin the Warrior is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. I am so excited to be learning about this. But just from the like, just basically looking at the cover arts for some of these books, I'm getting more of a Secret of Nim vibe than a really wholesome vibe. Like, where, like, Secret of Nim to me is one of those things I watched as a kid where, looking back, I feel like it had more of a dark, like, tale than the other media I was watching. Like, even though it looked super cute, but it looks adorable.
It's so cute.
Yeah. So how were you into this as a kid, or did you get into it later? I think you said it was part of your childhood.
Yeah, I was into it as a kid. I was reading a lot of fantasy novels around that time, like Wheel of Time.
Sure.
And I don't know. I was just on a tear with stuff like that. I don't remember why I picked it up specifically. Probably just because it looked cute, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I was super into it. I liked it quite a bit. And then I remember when I was in middle school, there was an older kid. His name was Richard, and he was teased and misunderstood. He was one of a couple of kids I knew in high school who, for some reason, pretended like they had a British accent when they didn't. And I liked Richard, even though I was not supposed to like Richard, because he was, not cool. And then I found out one day that he did an excellent job of drawing all of the animals from Redwall.
Oh my God.
So then I had a big crush on him. And then, in hindsight, he was very gay.
Sure.
And
this is why I don't trust it when like, this is another reason why I would not go back to childhood knowing anything that I know now, because that person's objectively cool. They can do a British accent. They can draw. They're into what seems to be an awesome series. But to kids, they're like, oh, those things, not cool. What? Wrong.
I know. And he drew, I asked him to, and he drew me as a character in Redwall.
Avalon.
And I was so excited about it.
That's amazing.
And then, okay, here's where it gets weird. And then I started to notice that all of his animals in Redwall were, like, he was definitely drawing them sexualized. And they had, like, bigger and bigger packages. And then it turned into a furry thing.
For sure. Yeah.
So.
But I hope
it was fine.
That wherever he is, he found his people.
It tainted it somewhat for me. I'll say that. Yeah.
Sure.
I was not at an age where I was capable of sexualizing the animals from Redwall or understanding why someone might.
Certainly not. No.
I'm not saying Richard was predatory in any way. It just was like, it was disappointing. I'll say that.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, we all know that kid.
I'm just, it was the very first time any kind of furrydom touched my life.
I anticipate that I can't think of a certain memory, but I know I feel confident that I encountered furrydom, like, probably a lot before I knew what it was. Like, I think that if I really dug deep, I would realize that a lot of the things my friends showed me were not just fun little drawings. But yeah, so Redwall, I think this is the coolest. I can't believe I didn't know about this. It looks so great. So do you have, I guess, like, a favorite in this series, a favorite book I'm starting with?
So, as I said, I'm rereading it right now, and I'm on the first one. So it's really the only one that's fresh in my mind.
Sure.
I feel like there was a book where all of a sudden we had been following mice for a while, and then all of a sudden there was a squirrel was the main character, and I remember really being into that one when I was a kid. So it's just like a kind of a new perspective, and then obviously the different animals have different animals, so like the squirrel can call stuff like that, and it's just kind of a cool different perspective because suddenly that character is bringing you up into the treetops, and maybe you're interacting with bird characters more so, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, great. Wow. The last one of these it's telling me was published in 2011, which
oh wow, that's
in my brain
recent.
right. In my brain is very recent. I realize that's now 10 years ago, but still.
Well, I mean, I was reading these in like 99, so that feels recent to me.
That does feel like. Do you want to know something horrible, Avalon?
I do.
The kids on TikTok call the 90s the late 1900s. Just want you to know that that's what they refer to that time period as.
Weird.
Yeah, it's awful. So okay, well, feel free to go and just say whatever, but I just really want to know more about this. Like, I feel like when I was a kid, I read a lot. Like, I spent a lot of time reading, but there was not a lot of diversification in what I was reading. Like, I was obsessed with like 4 series, and that's what I read like all the time. And I really had a hard time branching out and like picking up something new that I didn't already know that I was obsessed with. I am currently the same way with media that I consume now, so it's no surprise. But I am getting the idea that I missed out on this.
Yeah, I think it's great. And now I looked at the wiki to see the publication years, and you were correct when you said that they jump around chronologically. They jumped around more than I realized.
Oh, it says that here. Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
If you see the publication year versus the chronological order, it's pretty zigzaggy.
Yeah.
But this is one of the first things I'm really excited to foist upon Robin.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are there any like illustrations within the books?
There's the cover art, and then there's a sketch at the top of each chapter, like just a little.
Yeah.
Which is plenty,
guy.
but I wouldn't say there are pictures in it per se.
Right.
Just chapter headers. But yeah, and apparently there has been an animated series. I don't think it was very popular. I've never seen it, but it exists.
Oh, wow.
Somewhere.
I'm very excited to learn that there's an audiobook.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I bet it's very calming. So here's the other truly awesome thing about Redwall is that it spends a tremendous amount of time describing food for some reason. I guess some fantasy books do this, but the food is always so nice sounding. It's
in what way?
So like when they're having maybe a big feast at the Abbey, they'll go into all of these little like hand pastries with fresh honeycomb and lavender that brother so-and-so grew in his lavender garden, and like a twist of hazelnut grated over the top. Or like it just gets very detailed with all of the sort of cottagecore-esque
yes
finery.
I was trying to think of what that is.
Yeah. And I love it so much, and there's actually more of it even than I remembered now that I'm rereading it. They really like describing the food. But I follow on Twitter an account that's like Food of Redwall or something like that, where every once in a while they'll just tweet out a blurb of one of the meals that's described, and it's just very wholesome.
That is very cute.
Yeah.
That is something that I did not realize before, but is something that I associate with like the fantasy genre. I think it's like there's like this part of like the Ren Fair aesthetic, like that big ass turkey leg in hook that's like on the table, and like it just doesn't look like, it looks more appetizing than real food that we would see, even though a turkey leg definitely exists. This one just looks special, and yeah.
Well, I believe that a cookbook was published.
Oh, that's really cool.
You're
right. Yes, in 2005.
Yeah.
Cute. Oh my God, that's so cute.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. There's 2 video games.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine.
Wow, and they are available on Mac OS, everybody. That is the only time you'll ever hear that. I'm very excited to say. Wow, this is so adorable. Netflix has acquired the rights to the novel series as of this year in February.
Interesting.
So that means that it's on its way.
We'll see. I hope they do a good job. I think Netflix typically does a good job, I think.
So far, I think they've succeeded more often than they've failed.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Who's your favorite character?
So I really like Matthias. I like the flagship character. It's cool because the whole book he's so obsessed with Martin the Warrior. It's cool in a couple like books after that when we then actually go and meet Martin the Warrior. But I remember it was a little bit of a meet your heroes thing for me as a kid. I remember being like, you know what, Martin was cool, but I actually think Matthias was cooler when all is said and done. So yeah. But
yeah.
In the first book, at least, since that's the one I'm reading right now, I love Constance the Badger. Constance is this big old badger that is friends with all of them and lives with them. But she's kind of like the muscle on their team. Even though she's an older badger, she's really scary.
I love that.
Yeah, she's really scary to the rats that are attacking and stuff because she's so huge. And I just feel like she's a really important part of their team. I also really like there's Basil Stag Hare is this sort of eccentric former military hare that they meet on a reconnaissance mission at one point, and he's really funny and really chaotic.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God, he's so fancy.
He's so fancy. And then also
he's so fancy.
There are sparrows that live in the attic, the roof of Redwall Abbey, and they are mean. And they don't get along with the mice, and they're very territorial, and they don't overlap with each other very often. But they discover in the book that the sparrows are the ones who have Martin's long-lost sword. So Matthias has to go up and try to infiltrate their kingdom up in the attic of the abbey. And it's very interesting, but they are... The halting way in which they speak and how it's written is very funny.
Ooh, what do you mean by that?
Well, because it's like, so he goes to their kingdom and the guy in charge is called Bull King Spara. And Matthias is like, I really need this sword. And he has to kind of like appeal to their like pride and sort of trick them into thinking it's like their idea to give him the sword. But when they first see him, they're like, mouse folk, evil, Keely. And they all like jump on the mouse folk and he's like, peck him. It's just very funny, like the way that they
I like that. Like they write it in like a birdie sounding language.
Yes, exactly. Kind of. And it's very looping, repetitive, and it's like Killeeit for like Keeliot when they're trying to order him to like, yeah. I get to read it out loud, so I'm really, really into it.
I have been thinking, about doing like once a week a like read this book together series on my stream. Like a streamer that I really like does it with the Nancy Drew books, and there's another streamer that I like that does it with the Animorphs books, which are basically the two series that I was obsessed with as a kid. So I don't want to step on those toes. But I want to read this like right now.
They're a little chunky for once a week, I would say. But so would you read it out loud on your stream?
Yeah, and like, commentary too.
I love that.
I
love that.
I definitely it's an area of streaming that I never would have sought out originally, and now I actually love it.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so cute. So, first of all, I don't know anything about any of these characters besides anything that you've told me just now.
Yes.
But I have a huge investment in Basil.
Yes.
The hair.
Yes.
I feel very there's like a Basil approves meme of him winking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I love this so much. Wow. Okay, so let's see. Obviously, I think you'd probably recommend just like starting this series from the beginning, like and just reading it through. Do you have any like, stories from when you were reading this the first time? Any like resonating things for you, or I don't know, something that's made this stick out?
I will say I haven't read all of them. Obviously, they were published continuously long after I stopped reading them. And I only read them once through, but I was amazed with my recent revisitation of them, how well I remembered the events of the book. Specifically, I think because the descriptions are so rich. I can remember, like, I could not have told you when I picked up this book to start reading to Robin, I could not have told you any of the character names. I could not have told you the plot, really, besides the main character fighting off some rats. But as I started reading, I would be like, oh my God, I know for a fact that all of these rats that are on the back of this hay cart right now, the cart is going to flip and like half of them are going to be crushed to death in the ditch. And there's going to be mud and it's going to be like really fucked up. And sure enough, that's what happened. And mostly it's around the descriptions of either food or death or violence in it that have stuck with me like old song lyrics that you find yourself remembering.
Yeah, because it's like, I guess the media we're exposed to as children is so purposefully sanitized from all of those things. So then when you do encounter it, it like sticks out. Like,
yeah, it's like kind of like Dark Crystal or there, or Last Unicorn, or there are a couple of movies that are like are burned into your psyche. That's how I feel.
it's Lady Coddington's fairy book is something that I was so in love with as a kid, but that definitely was shocking and traumatizing to read as a kid, because it's like like slut shaming fairies and then torturing and murdering them.
Yikes.
And but it's like written from the perspective of a kid who's doing these things. It's very
I have not
upsetting.
Ever heard of this.
I'm gonna be reading it on stream later tonight. It's
that's
because I
very timely. Or were you already planning on doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah. This morning I posted about it and people were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
No, you all need to know.
So mostly the violence and death. And food are what really stick with me. But yeah, I think that, and then the bad guy is like so scary.
I was gonna ask, is the bad guy Clooney the Scourge?
Yes.
He looks like one of the villains from The Secret of Nim and is giving me fears.
Yeah,
just by
he
looking
was
at him.
scary. His tail is described as being like thicker and longer than any other rat's tail, and he like can use it like a whip and like grab people with it. And he's just like, he wears, I think, a fox or a stoat skull that he like killed by himself, and he's just like really scary. And he's always murdering his generals and things like that. Like everybody in his army is terrified of him.
Yep, that's how you know they're evil. If their own men are scared of them.
Some of his soldiers are kind of funny and doopy, even though they're all very evil and irredeemable. Sometimes their hijinks are pretty funny.
I can tell by looking at their character art, which I love. I think that especially when it's like otherwise a very, has a lot of dark material.
Yes.
It can be a nice little palate cleanse to have a like completely ridiculous, doofy villain.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And it's just interesting to me, they interact, the way that the different species interact, that all cohabitate in this forest together. And I like it. I like it a lot. They meet a family of squirrels at one point that are extremely cute.
Oh, sure.
But I do think Basil is a good pick for.
Yeah, Basil's who I'm gonna say is my favorite before reading it, and we'll see.
I think you'll stick with it. I do.
Okay, good.
Yeah. The moles are funny too. They have a very accent heavy way of speaking that I think is, I don't think it's supposed to be Scottish. It's a little bit hard looking at it, but it's like I think it's supposed to be like a rough Cockney or like Liverpool, like docks kind of British English. But they're always just showing up and like being like, how can we help? And then like, it is just funny. And they do lots of digging.
I have a question, and even though this will be spoilery for me, is there like a Robin Hood Maid Marian thing between Matthias and Rose?
No, it's the love interest is Cornflower is her name.
Ooh,
no, Rose.
Okay, because Rose looks very like damsel-y in some of this art, and I was gonna be like,
I am not familiar with Rose off the top of my head.
Okay,
but there's a field mouse who's so pretty and nice, who doesn't have any character development whatsoever.
Oh, great.
That Matthias loves. Her family
Fantastic.
has to come move into the Abbey because the old church that she lives in is actually where Clooney the Scourge sets up. So she and her family have to flee, and they live in the Abbey. And then she just starts working in the kitchen, and she just is seen delivering food to people sometimes.
Amazing.
But Basil likes her in particular because Basil is a character with a comically large appetite. He's always asking people if they're going to finish their food.
I can't even be mad. I love it. I don't care how tropey it is.
I know.
So
it's pretty tropey, but it really is very sweet.
Oh, so adorable. Wow. I feel so sad that I didn't read this as a kid, but I am very excited to read the entire thing now.
I hope that it hits well if there's no nostalgia factor. I hope it doesn't just feel so tropey that it's like a little boring.
If it's cute, I feel like I can get around a lot of things.
Yeah. All right, great. I hope that whoever reads the audiobook or whoever narrates it has like a nice, wholesome British voice, because I feel like that's going to make or break it.
Yeah. I'm gonna find that out right now because I like to know.
But I will tell you that reading it has made me want so badly to play Humblewood. Like,
yeah, we should do that. We should do that very soon.
I have it right here.
You have
There's no reason. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. the author's son appears in the audiobooks to do certain character voices. And the author does the narration for the rest.
Nice.
Okay. Very good. I think that's nice. I think it's nice. I think there's something very special about like a fully casted audiobook, like some of Neil Gaiman's books have been, done in that way, which is really exciting. But there's also a lot of love in the author reading their own book, and they know exactly like what inflection they want things to have and like what the voice is supposed to sound like. I think that's good.
I'm sending you one of the food descriptions in the chat.
Okay. All right. The trolley was laden with wild cherry and rhubarb pastries, candied fruit sponge, fruit salads with white rose cream, tansy and coltsfoot cordial, and hot dandelion tea. Wow. That I'm hungry.
Yeah. I don't even know what any of those things taste like.
Yeah. I know about 4 of those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it all sounds great. White rose cream sounds like a delight.
Great. Yeah.
What?
What have I been missing out on all these years without white rose cream on my fruit salad?
However, I will say that we have been fooled before by fantasy authors describing food, because an entire generation of us thought that Turkish delight was going to be good.
Valid.
Found
You're
out
saying a
that
valid thing, although that is a real food.
It is a
unlike
real
white
food.
rose cream. But yes,
What if it is real? Maybe it's
white
real.
rose cream, maybe, could be.
Yeah.
I also felt fooled by butterbeer because for some reason it didn't occur to me it would just taste like butterscotch, which I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what I thought it would taste like.
Yeah. I thought it would be like root beer.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. But again, that one's not real. So,
Right.
so it's a different story.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, gosh. Okay. How far did you get? Do you remember?
Let me look at the list. I probably didn't get nearly as far. I had no idea there were so many of them. I remember The Pearls of Lutra or Marl Fox. That one also sounds a little familiar. No, never mind. Anthropomorphic Foxes does not sound familiar. So we'll say The Long Patrol, I'm going to say, is the last one I read. So about half.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty good. And that was in like 97. I mean, after that, it's like you're getting into your teenage years, and so it's gonna be a little bit disconnected.
Yeah.
From that, but that won't stop me.
I probably discovered them right around then because it's not like I followed the publication of the series. I like binged them over a summer or a school year or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did something like that too with what did I do that with? That horrible series about like fake historical women and their diaries.
Yes.
Yeah. I binged that. That was one of my obsessions when I was a kid.
I can picture the spines of that series on the shelf in our library.
With the brooch shaped portrait
yes.
of each girl.
Haunting. Yeah.
Very haunting. Most of them were dead and died horribly. It was very weird fucking series.
Historical fiction for kids I don't know if it's still a thing or if it was a blip when we were kids, but I just remember World War II, Titanic, like fake memoirs of children were huge.
Yes. Fake memoirs of children. The other thing that I was obsessed with was this historical series of fake newspapers. We might have.
I remember you talking about this, and I thought I knew what you meant, and then when you finally found it, I had never seen it before.
Yeah, where it was weird. It was weird. Like it was like, there was like an op-ed about the first surgery and like how the person remembered it because there was no such thing as anesthesia at the time.
Oh my God.
So they were like talking about how painful it was when the surgeon stabbed them in the skull, and like
Oh no.
And like I forget, like but they would be from different time periods. So there was like one during like ancient Greece, one from ancient Rome, one, you know, they were in different settings, and like there would be like fake controversies about like what god you needed to worship about XYZ, and there would be like an opinion piece about it, and people would be very heated.
Oh my god.
I was very into those. They were very weird.
Oh, wow. I did not expect you to actually read this. I know we give homework, but that felt like a little bit of an ask.
I'm
so
so
I wasn't
excited.
really sure, but I'm really excited.
I'm right here spending all 12 of my Audible credits right now on.
We'll just start with the first one.
Don't you tell me what to do. I'm so excited to do this. Especially because I have credits expiring, and
They expire?
yeah.
Oh shit, I've got a lot of credits.
Yeah, they expire pretty quickly actually. So
Oh,
but
balls.
it's like, you know, it's on a rolling schedule. So like your oldest one
Right,
will
right.
expire, and then you have blah blah blah. So I'm going to download that so that I can listen to it on the subway, because I've been like
Oh.
not listening to anything on the subway, and I think I need a reason to live again.
Sure. Well, I'm so happy that I just gave you a reason to live.
Yes, thank you. Wow, I'm so excited to have this. Wow, fantastic. A new book series to read. So here's what I was going to say to kind of finish this out, because this is what I like to do. Because especially when I get a sense that I'm going to really like something, I like to see like how much I'm going to be allowed to love this. And it looks like the fan fiction community is very large for this series.
Oh, okay.
Which is that's a good thing to me. That means that people really care about this.
Good. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
so
I am worried
that's-
about it, but
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, with every one of them, there's going to be pornography, but with pornography also comes cottagecore, adorable slice of life fanfics and weird crossovers. Okay, so here's something I found by looking this up on Tumblr. I found a personality hex grid.
ooh,
For gay, bi, and lesbian and Animorphs Goosebumps Redwall.
Okay.
Which I think is hysterical. So you being would you classify yourself as a Redwall bisexual? I'm obviously
Yes.
an Animorphs bisexual on
Yes.
this chart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does that mean? You just
I don't
put
know.
your own face?
That's just where you
Oh.
put yourself on the
I
on
see.
the
I see.
chart.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's another one where there are a lot of series here that I don't know anything about. Mouse Heart, Wings Fire, Redwall, Warriors, Into the Wild, Silverwing, Foxcraft, Swordbird, which I want to read, The Capture, and The Familiars, which are all fantasy books with animal protagonists.
Oh, wow.
And that one is classified into edgy, depressed, dumbass, and bitch, thought, and bastard. So I don't understand it, but I like that it exists.
Nice.
So I feel good about this. There seems to be a big Tumblr fandom and a big AO3 fandom. Oh, whoa.
There's also a big baby fandom.
A big baby fandom loving Redwall, which they're supposed to. So, Avalon, any last thoughts about Redwall? That any important things, big moments, or anything else you want to share?
We got the food. We got the weird violence. We got the weird sexy fan art from middle school.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's it. We got
All right,
Basil's stag
I
hair.
will report back.
Oh my God, I can't wait. And like, let me know if you read it out loud on, because I want to watch.
I will, and
Yeah.
I will do that. I'm gonna try to wait until closer to this airing, so it's not like
That makes sense. I want to hear you specifically read the mole dialogue.
Ooh, okay, because of how it's written, like
Yeah.
why?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
I think it's fun.
very cool. All right, well, I cannot wait to report back on this one. This is a very exciting development in my fiction, fiction knowledge, and I'm very excited. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Absolutely. And listeners, if you like Redwall, you let me know.
Yes.
You let me know.
What are you doing after this, Avalon?
Well, I guess I'm just going to be hanging out with Robin until Francis finishes whatever important things he needs to do.
Okay, well, good. I think also I'm going to hang out with Robin a little bit right here.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
You can find all of our Femsplained content either on patreon.com/Femsplained, Twitter, you can find us at FemsplainedCast, Instagram, you can find us at Femsplained Podcast, and you can check out superdylan.com/Femsplained to find the guest form and all of the different places where you can listen and connect with us.
Awesome. You can find and follow me, Avalon, at @A_catattack on both Twitter and Twitch.
And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, and all the places at Super Dylan, and that is DILLIN.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your support. Bye.
Bye.
Fly!